And in terms of staying healthy, couldn't be more pleased to have on the Rich Eisen Show the head coach of the Washington football team, one of our favorite guests and one of my favorite people that I'm lucky enough that I've gotten to meet in my years with the NFL and the NFL Network. He is the head coach of the Washington football team, Ron Rivera. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing well, Rich. I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's a true story. I truly feel that way. And very, very many interviews I don't start with how are you feeling, but this is obviously a germane question of you. How are you feeling, Coach? How are you feeling?
I'm actually doing pretty well. I finished up my last cycle of chemotherapy and radiation treatment last week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the recovery phase of it where, you're hoping the medicine continues to do its job and finish off the cancer. And hopefully when I get my PET scan in January, everything will be where it needs to be.
And so what has that been like? Can you just walk me through what a normal week for you has been over the last few weeks, Coach?
Well, really, what happens is I get 5 proton treatments a week, Monday through Friday. I got 3 cycles of chemo, one every 21 days. And so what would happen is, just depending on the week, my chemo could coincide with my proton therapy, which really zaps you. And so really, at the beginning of the week, those weeks, it really is a battle. The positive thing that Monday and Tuesday are typically are game planning things, which the coordinators were handling. And then, working my way to getting out to practice on Wednesday and Thursday were a struggle. By Friday, I really started to feel better. And then Saturday, I was able to do my duties, and Sunday, the way I needed to have them done for the game time. So it was a struggle at times, but I was very fortunate. I had a lot of good people behind me, and really kudos to our coordinators for the job that they did during that period.
We're seeing the video of you walking down the hallway with your caretakers celebrating your final treatment. What was this moment like for you, Coach?
It was surreal because, when you first start, it's that old saying is, we get caught up on how far we have to go as opposed to how far we've come. And that's really what it kind of felt like was, gosh, I've made it. I'm where I need to be. And it really was surreal. And it left me speechless because, they just didn't do it because it was me. They do it for all their patients that finish. There was a little young man that actually had finished. He was a huge Nats fan. He's a huge fan of Baby Shark, which was their theme a year ago.
Yes.
And so when this kid was finishing up, they were doing the Baby Shark dance. And I just happened to walk in when they were rehearsing it, and I started doing it with them. So it was kind of fun. It really was. But it's hats off to those folks that are the caregivers, because they're tremendous people.
They sure are, and obviously humanity is suddenly becoming a little bit more lost in our world these days, Coach. And just seeing these videos and seeing you do what you've done, it just gives so much hope and inspiration to so many people. But in terms of a subset of individuals in the world that I've come across, coaches are the biggest control freaks I've ever met. What's it been like for you to be in a situation where you really can't control it at all?
Very frustrating. Very, 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 very frustrating. It really was. It was very frustrating because, there's so many things that you do as a head coach, so many things you're responsible for. And I felt guilty several times not being where I needed to be as a coach. And like I said, thank goodness for Jack Del Rio, because Jack had gone through this, with Coach Fox, and he's been tremendous. He really has. And, not to mention that he's done such a great job with our defense this year. I mean, in spite of all the things that he's had to do in terms of handling some of my duties, leading our defense to where we are right now, in the top 10 in a lot of categories has really been yeoman's work. So, hats off to having a guy like that. But it's been so frustrating just because, certain things that I see would happen and there's not much I could do about it because it just, I'm dealing with my situation. But again, like I said, when you have people, you have coaches and players that really take responsibility, that helps.
No, sure. And I guess last one for you on this, but I have to follow up. What do you mean by guilty? You really felt guilty about the fact that you didn't
I did.
I mean, really?
Because, I'm a football coach. Like you said, you want to be in the middle of it. You want to be helping your guys, and there are sometimes you just feel like, I couldn't give them all of me, the things that I do. And so that was tough for me. It was a tough pill for me to swallow. It really was. And that's kind of, I felt, I felt odd about it. I mean, I never thought I would be a coach that sat in a cart and watched practice. And that's what I did. I sat in a cart. I watched practice. I blew the whistle from the cart. I mean, that was instead of being able to walk around and, pat somebody on the back and say, hey, great job, or, hey, pick it up. You need to do this. I was removed from it, and that became frustrating, and I got angry about it. And I also, like I said, I felt guilty about it.
And so from moving forward, are you out of the cart? And basically the next thing for you is your scan in January? That's basically it right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. What I have is I have a weekly checkups with my two doctors.
Okay.
I go in to see them. But everything's leading up to the scan in January, obviously. Hopefully everything's done completely, and there's no residuals or anything that need to go back and get taken care of. And so that's what we're pulling for. And
so basically you're back to focusing primarily on football, essentially, right now.
Yes.
That must be a great feeling. That must be great.
It's kind of cool now.
Right.
It is. It really is. I mean, to be able to sit down and watch tape and not worry about, I got my appointment here, I got this appointment coming up there. Take this medicine, take that medicine. I'm down to just taking one set of medicines a day, and that's it. And as opposed to having this regimen that I had to follow, and I couldn't miss or couldn't be late on. I'm telling you, I was very like I said, I was very fortunate that we caught it early. We had a good plan, had a great team of doctors.
Well, Ron Rivera, let's talk a little bit of football then, and some of the football decisions that you have had to make or you made over the last several weeks. And let's start with the quarterback position. How would you rate your belief in Dwayne Haskins right now?
I think my belief in Dwayne is probably somewhere, I'd probably give it somewhere in the 70s. He's got a terrific arm. He really does. He's got an NFL arm. He's got a good release. He's got good athleticism, but he's got a lot to learn. And that's what I learned from my 11 weeks with him as our starter. We went through 7 weeks of training camp. He took every snap with the ones. We went 4 games. He took every snap with the ones. But as we were going through it, one of the things that I saw was that he's got a lot to learn. And then lo and behold, we're in a situation where I'm looking at, what's going on in the East, and I'm saying, God, we got a shot. So I wanted to put the ball in somebody's hands that knew the system, in terms of Kyle Allen, who had played for me in Carolina, who knew the system, had been in the system for 3 seasons. And I felt that was the best decision, and that's what I did.
Okay, and in terms of Kyle Allen, here he is in his first game, and he gets hurt, and Alex Smith gets put out there. I mean, what was going through your mind when you saw him and maybe Aaron Donald on his back? Coach, what was that?
Cool. I thought cool. You know what?
Right.
But you know why, though? Because during this whole process, Alex kept asking for more, and I was trying to, I wanted to kind of gradually bring him along, but he kept pushing for more. And so what happened was, near the end of camp, it was, all right, we threw him in there. Hey, get in there, do this. And man, he just kept answering the bell. So, so Kyle gets hurt, and I made the conscious decision that I'm just going to stick with Alex and let him finish the game, even though Kyle could have probably gone in if we needed to. But I didn't want to risk putting him back in, getting him hurt, and then he's done. So I thought, let's see what happens. And again, Alex wanted this. I mean, Alex was ready. He went out and he performed. I wish it was under better circumstances.
Right.
But he handled it. And I'm telling you, every day I see Alex now, I see this guy that just prepares and gets ready just in case.
And what is Dwayne Haskins' relationship with the team right now? I mean, is he?
It's been good.
Okay.
He's number 3. He comes in, he does some work with the scout teams, he does his work with the coaches, he's in meetings, he's getting his workouts. It's funny. I benched the guy, and it's like everybody thinks his career is over here in Washington. It's not. There's potential. There's an opportunity because, again, the kid has an NFL arm. It's just a matter of him developing. Remember, everybody forgets. He played 12 games in college football. And then last year, he really didn't get into the swing of things until near the end of the year. He didn't have OTAs. He didn't have mini camp. He didn't have a normal training camp. But I did everything I could to give him 11 weeks as the number 1. And he did some good things. And I'm not going to deny that because, again, he has the arm. But with him, I think it's about development and growing, and that's what we want to do. This guy is young. This guy's, he's got an opportunity to develop and grow. We'll see what happens as we go forward.
And what is the relationship with Ryan Kerrigan and the team right now? How would you term that?
Oh, I love Ryan. And I think it's a good relationship. I think Ryan's done a great job. And I said this the other day. I said his play to production is pretty doggone good, to the point where I made the statement, we need to get him on the field a few more times. Here's a guy that every time he's out there, he does something, he's productive. This guy's had a great career. This guy's a legacy player here, and that's where I see him. I think this guy can help us going forward, and we'll see what happens.
And now we'll see what happens, Ron Rivera, in this NFC East that you've got a shot. If this week, you got the New York Giants coming up next up for you. And, with a win here to go to 3-5, that puts you a half game behind the bye-weeking Eagles. And you're flat out in the mix in this. I mean, it's an interesting division, wouldn't you say? Coach, you've never seen anything like it.
I went through I went through this in 2014 when I was in Carolina.
That's right.
Remember, we won that division at 7-8-1. What's interesting is there's been three recently. There's been a team that was 8-8 that won their division and won a playoff game. There was a team that was 7-9, won their division and won a playoff game. And then there was a team that was 7-8-1, won their division, won a playoff game. So anything's possible. You just got to get into the dance.
Okay.
And so we'll see what happens. I mean, again, I promise you, the Giants are thinking the same way we are. Hey, we can win this game, man. We're right in the thick of it. So going forward, you've got to play your best football, especially against division teams.
And how good is Chase Young now that you've been exposed to him playing? That's right. So
I'll tell you,
where do you rank him?
I rank him. He has a chance to have one of the top rookie type of years, like you saw with the Bosa's. I mean, this is that kind of player. He's a guy that comes along every now and then, and again, don't sleep on Montez Sweat. I think we have a real good tandem of two young defensive ends that really have an opportunity to make an impact in this league. And if we can keep them together for a while, we can be a pretty good defense.
Okay. Coach, really appreciate the time. I'm thrilled to hear that you're well. You sound great. I mean, you sound like you're ready to go, and you're back, and you got an opportunity to make some hay in your division. Sounds great.
Well, I appreciate it, Rich. And again, hey, everybody, get out and vote as soon as this show's over.
I appreciate that. By the way, and I appreciate you saying that. Not right now. That you understand. I've got 40 some odd minutes left. So I appreciate it, Coach. Thanks for the call.
All right, Rich. Be safe.
You got it. That's Ron Rivera. Riverboat Ron Rivera. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.